My friends, sometimes being available all the time makes people forget your value, and sometimes disappearing for a while reminds them who you truly were. When you are always there for everyone, every time they call, every time they need help, every time they feel low, something quietly begins to happen. At first, they are grateful. They appreciate your presence, but slowly, without realizing it, they start to expect it. Your kindness becomes normal. Your time becomes assumed and your presence becomes invisible. It's not because they are bad people. It's because human nature forgets to value what it never loses. When the sun rises every day, we stop noticing its beauty. When the air is always around us, we forget how vital it is. In the same way, when you are constantly available, people stop seeing you truly seeing you. You might think that always being there proves your love, your loyalty, your care. But what it often does is teach others that you will never leave. No matter how lightly they treat you, you become the constant background music to their lives, comforting, familiar but unnoticed. They start answering you later. They stop appreciating your efforts. And one day you find yourself feeling exhausted, wondering why your presence feels so heavy when all you ever wanted was to give. That's when you must understand it's not wrong to give space. It's not wrong to step back. You are not being rude. You are teaching value. Your presence is a blessing, not a default setting. And blessings must be cherished, not assumed. When you pull back just a little, you allow people to feel the quiet weight of your absence. You let them realize how different life feels without your messages, without your encouragement, without your warmth. And that moment when they finally pause and say something's missing, that's when they truly begin to understand your worth. So don't be afraid to stop over showing up. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give others is the chance to miss you. When you step away, even for a little while, something begins to shift. Not just in others, but inside you. The silence that follows your absence becomes a powerful teacher. People who once overlooked your efforts start to notice the emptiness left behind. The calls that went unanswered before suddenly feel important. The conversations they once brushed off now feel incomplete without your laughter, your energy, your warmth. It's a strange and beautiful truth. Presence often blinds people while absence opens their eyes. When you were around, they never had to think twice. You were just there responding, helping, supporting, loving. But when you pull back, when you stop being easily reachable, their world feels slightly colder. It's in that quiet discomfort that realization begins. They start to remember your words, your care, the way you made them feel safe or understood. And that's when they understand how much you truly mattered. Absence creates awareness. Awareness of effort, of emotion, of meaning. It gives people a chance to compare what life feels like with you and what it feels like without you. Most people only recognize the depth of someone's presence after they lose it. And that's not cruelty. That's human nature. We realize the value of light only when we stumble in the dark. We realize the importance of water only when we are thirsty. And we realize the worth of a person only when their silence replaces their voice. Sometimes people need that pause to truly see you. They need to feel the empty space where your energy once was. And that's not about playing games or trying to manipulate emotions. It's about allowing truth to surface, because truth often hides beneath familiarity. When someone experiences your absence, they finally face that truth that your presence had weight, warmth, and worth. So if you ever feel that your presence goes unnoticed, don't fight to be seen. Step back, not in anger, but in peace. Let the silence do the work your words never could. For in that silence, awareness is born. And awareness is the first step to appreciation. Taking a step back doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It doesn't mean you've given up on people or on the relationship. It simply means you've chosen clarity over chaos. Sometimes we confuse closeness with connection. We think being constantly involved in someone's life means we are emotionally bonded. But often too much closeness blurs the boundaries between love and dependency, care and control, presence and pressure. Space, my friend, is not distance. It's perspective. It's like stepping back from a painting you've been staring at for too long. When you're too close, all you see are the brush strokes, the flaws, the imperfections. the rough lines. But when you step back, you finally see the full picture. The same happens in relationships and friendships. When you're always emotionally entangled, it becomes difficult to see what's real and what's routine. Taking a step back allows both hearts to breathe again. Taking a step back allows both hearts to breathe again. It gives you and the other person a chance to see the truth. Do we truly value each other, or are we just used to each other? When you create space, something magical happens. Peace begins to return. When you create space, something magical happens. You stop reacting to every small thing. You stop feeling drained by constant availability. You start noticing how you truly feel without their presence. And they too begin to notice what your presence really brought to their life. The conversations become more meaningful. The appreciation becomes more sincere. The bond, instead of fading, starts to mature. But most people fear space. They think if they pull away, they'll lose connection. The truth is, if our connection can't survive a little distance, it was never connection. It was attachment. Space tests the strength of bonds. If someone truly values you, they won't vanish in your silence. They'll understand it. They'll feel your absence not as rejection but as reflection. And if they don't understand it, if they walk away, then your space has revealed what words could not. You don't owe constant access to anyone. Your energy is sacred. Your peace is priceless. And the people meant to stay in your life will always respect your need for clarity. They'll know that your silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to not lose yourself in the noise. So when you take that step back, do it with calmness, not coldness. Do it not to punish, but to purify. Because space doesn't destroy real bonds. Because space doesn't destroy real bonds. It strengthens them. It filters out what's shallow and leaves behind what's true. Silence. It has a language of its own. A language so powerful yet so often underestimated. We live in a world where people believe that everything must be explained. Every feeling must be voiced. Every action must be justified. But sometimes the most profound messages are the ones delivered without a single word. When you go silent, truly silent, the world begins to notice what your voice used to carry. There comes a point where speaking more doesn't bring understanding. It only brings exhaustion. You keep explaining your intentions, your emotions, your worth. But people hear only what they want to hear. And that's when silence becomes your greatest ally. Because silence doesn't argue. It doesn't defend. It doesn't beg to be seen. Because silence doesn't argue. It doesn't defend. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply withdraws with grace, with dignity, with strength. And in that quiet withdrawal, it speaks volumes. Silence says, I've said enough. Silence says, if you couldn't hear me when I was speaking, maybe you'll feel me when I'm gone. Silence says, my peace is louder than this noise. You see, silence is not emptiness, it's awareness. It's the moment you realize that not every battle deserves your voice, and not every misunderstanding deserves your energy. Some things are better taught through absence, and some lessons are only learned when the sound of your presence disappears. When you stop explaining yourself, people start to wonder. When you stop defending your worth, they begin to question their own actions. And when your voice fades into stillness, they finally start to feel what they once ignored, your patience, your effort, your consistency. Because silence has a way of echoing in the spaces where your words once lived. It lingers. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces reflection. Many fear silence because they think it creates distance. But the truth is, silence doesn't push people away. It draws the right ones closer. The ones who care will come forward. The ones who care will come forward. They'll notice you're quiet, and they'll reach out not because they have to, but because they want to. The others, they'll fade. And that's okay. Silence has done its work. It has separated the genuine from the convenient. So when you feel misunderstood, stop chasing clarity with words. Let your silence be your strength. Let your absence be your answer. Because the heart can feel what the ears refuse to hear. And when your words no longer make an impact, your silence will. It will whisper the truth louder than your voice ever could. If someone truly misses you when you're gone, it means your presence carried weight. It means you weren't just there. You mattered. You left something behind in their heart. something that no one else could replace. Being missed is not about ego. It's about impact. It's about knowing that your kindness, your energy, your love, and your time touch someone so deeply that your absence now feels heavy. But let's be honest, not everyone who's close to you will miss you when you're gone. Some people will notice your absence only because of the convenience they've lost. They'll miss what you did for them, not who you were to them. There's a big difference between being needed and being valued. Being needed feeds the ego, being valued feeds the soul, and you must learn to recognize which one your relationships are built upon. When you are constantly available, people might grow dependent on your presence without ever truly appreciating it. They may take your support as their right instead of your gift. But the moment you step away, the moment your messages stop coming, your calls stop reaching, your effort stops flowing, a quiet realization begins to unfold in their mind. They start to feel a gap, not always immediately, but slowly. In the moments they expect you to be there and you're not, in the times they reach for comfort and find only silence, that's when they start to understand it wasn't just what you gave. It was you. Being missed means you made a difference. It means your energy shifted something in someone's life. And if your absence doesn't create that awareness, don't let it hurt you. Let it free you. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves your presence, and not everyone is capable of recognizing your worth. Sometimes your absence exposes who was connected to your soul and who was attached to your service. The ones who truly cared will feel the emptiness, not because they lost help, but because they lost heart, They'll think about your laughter, your compassion, the way you understood their silence when words failed. They'll wish they had valued you more when you were right there, giving without hesitation. That's the beauty and the pain of being genuine. Your absence becomes louder than the noise of many others' presence. So don't be afraid to be missed. Don't feel guilty for walking away to protect your peace. If your presence had meaning, your absence will have power. You don't need to force anyone to realize your value. Just step back. The right ones will feel it deeply, quietly, unmistakably, and the wrong ones will simply move on, proving they never saw your worth to begin with. Let your absence become the test, the kind that separates attachment from appreciation and convenience from connection. Because being missed isn't about validation. It's about confirmation. Confirmation that your presence made the world of someone a little brighter, a little warmer, a little more human. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are bridges to protect what's sacred within you. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They think it's about being distant, cold, or indifferent. But in truth, boundaries are an act of self-respect and self-awareness. They say, I know my limits, I know what drains me, and I choose to protect my peace. Because if you don't teach people how to treat you, they will treat you however it suits them. When you are always available, when you say yes, even when your heart whispers no, you slowly train others to believe that your time and energy are endless. And in doing so, you begin to lose yourself piece by piece. Every time you say yes out of guilt, a part of your self-worth quietly fades. Every time you say yes out of guilt, a part of your self-worth quietly fades. Every time you let someone cross a line you didn't draw, your peace weakens. And one day you wake up wondering why you feel so unseen, so unheard, so unappreciated. The answer isn't that people changed. It's that you never taught them where your limits were. Boundaries protect respect. They remind others that you are not a convenience. You are a conscious choice. They show that your kindness is voluntary, not a duty. Think of a garden. If you never build a fence, anyone can walk through it, trample the flowers, or take what they want. But when you set a boundary, a clear line, the garden remains beautiful. And those who truly value it enter with care. That's what emotional boundaries do for the heart. They guard the beauty of your inner peace. Truth. When you start setting boundaries, some people will resist. They will call you selfish, distant, or changed. But understand this, only those who benefited from your lack of boundaries will be offended by your presence of them. The right people will understand. They'll respect your space, your time, and your energy because they don't love you for what you give. They love you for who you are. Boundaries also teach you something. They show you who genuinely belongs in your life. When you start saying no, you see who stays even when you're not always available. You see who checks in when you're quiet. You see who values you beyond what you offer. It's one of the most liberating lessons you'll ever learn. It's one of the most liberating lessons you'll ever learn that not everyone who smiles with you deserves full access to your heart. And remember, boundaries are not built from anger. They're built from understanding. You are not closing your heart. You're choosing who gets to stand close enough to feel it. That's not cruelty.